Welcome to this channel, and this video will be one of the most valuable videos you will have this year. And listen, most wholesalers fail because they make these 13 fatal mistakes that they don't even realize are killing their business. And I've known this because I've worked with hundreds of real estate investors and wholesalers, and I've scaled my own businesses to multiple 7 figures, and I've seen firsthand what separates a winner with someone that gets burned out and quit wholesaling real estate. Here's the brutal truth. Most wholesalers are doing this wrong. It's not about just finding deals. It's not about just doing more phone calls. And it's definitely not about building a huge cash buyer list before finding a deal. Instead, the top 1% of wholesalers and investors that are closing 5 to 10 deals per week, even in a down market, are doing something completely different. And today, I'm going to break down the biggest mistakes that are keeping you stuck, how to avoid them, and the exact strategy that the top 1% of wholesalers and investors are using right now to dominate the market. Most wholesalers think that their problem is I just need more leads, and this is wrong. If this was the answer, everyone would be rich. Just look at how many ways to generate leads exist out there. You can go to a pay-per-lead company, you can generate leads through Driving for Dollars, you can do direct mail, Facebook ads, Google ads. There's so many options. Wholesalers fail because they don't run this like an actual business. They don't track KPIs, they rely on cold calling without actually attracting leads. And even if you're buying leads from pay-per-lead companies that give you inbound leads, they only rely on cash offers and don't know how to handle sellers that are asking for top dollar or are saying, hey, this offer is way too low. If you don't fix this, you'll stay trapped in a vicious cycle, grinding for leads and deals, and will not actually build a real business. So most wholesalers never actually scale their business because they don't treat this like an actual business. The truth is that you don't have a lead problem, but you have a systems problem. You create businesses with systems and you scale them through people. And here's how to fix it. You gotta track KPIs even in a Google Sheet. Gotta understand cost per lead, cost per appointment, cost per contract, cost per deal, lead conversion cycle, and then ultimately know how much is costing you for you to do something. So return on advertising spent, return of investment, how long does it take to actually close a deal? How many leads to a deal? How many leads to a contract? What's your closing ratio? What is your appointment ratio? And all of this. And most importantly, you gotta know your LTV. So what is the revenue per deal? So how much each deal is worth to you? So for example, if your revenue per deal on average is $20,000, you could have a healthy business. But if it is only $5,000 to $10,000, that is not very profitable. And also, how much does it actually cost to acquire one deal? This is CAC. So cost per deal. You gotta start using a CRM. If you keep running your business in sticky notes or just spreadsheets that don't update automatically, you will be stuck forever. I highly suggest that you go for CRMs like InvestorFuse or RE Simply, or even build something out of Go High Level. I left a link in the comments below so you can start building something, even with Go High Level being your foundation as a CRM, because it helps you create something that is very repeatable, measurable, and you can start tracking your KPIs. But if you really want to get the best out of your CRM, do your own due diligence before you actually get into a CRM. And ask if someone is already using it so that you can actually start using it in a consistent basis every single day. Also, you gotta build a predictable pipeline. So choose a lead generator and start generating leads from outbound marketing, but also add inbound marketing so you can actually have control of your lead generation. And if something happens to one channel, you at least have an outbound marketing channel. So if you're buying leads from Google or Facebook and there's something that is happening with the season, you at least have a control way to call leads or SMS leads or do some sort of outbound like direct to agent that can give you some lead flow and appointment flow. This way, you also don't have to start from zero every single time. But don't get me wrong, if you start multiple channels at the same time, you will just get paralyzed because you're trying to do so many things at the same time. My biggest recommendation is that you focus in one channel for at least the first 6 to 12 months. This way, you generate a predictable lead flow and deal flow where you start generating revenue from that one channel. So for example, I started generating leads and deals using outbound methods, where I use DM methods to generate my clients at first. So you should do one channel at the very beginning and master it. Start getting deals from it, know how to do the sales process with it, and generate consistency. So get to $25,000 to $50,000 a month before you add another channel. But even if you start taking wholesaling as a real business and build a business out of this, you're still at risk if you're only using outdated marketing methods. Most wholesalers rely on cold calling, SMS marketing, direct mail, driving for dollars, or even direct to agent. But what if I tell you that this is the reason why most wholesalers are stuck and struggling? Because these methods are, one, expensive. Now you have to put time into this, which means that your time is highly valuable. And if you're putting way too much time and taking time away from actually doing higher level things like closing deals or building systems or building a team, where you actually are spending way more money into these deals, and also it's gonna take way too long to close a deal. A cash conversion cycle for a cold outbound marketing channel or even direct mail can vary from 3 all the way to 9 months. And it's very common to see that cold calling marketing campaigns can get you your first deal after 6 months of starting that campaign. So that's pretty crazy. So they're time consuming and there's no real leverage in here. If you see one of my videos, I covered leverage, where you actually need to start leveraging people, technology, and media to get the most out of this channel. But if you don't do it correctly, it's still gonna be very difficult and time consuming. And this is also regulated. So there's new laws that are making this harder and harder every single day. If I were to recommend a cold calling service, I would just recommend that you go with something like Lamasu that does everything in the front end so you can get highly qualified leads from cold calling that cannot turn a cold calling lead into a PPC type of lead, because they do the front end for you. Meanwhile, the top wholesalers barely cold call at all. If you see what they're doing, they're using a completely different strategy that actually attracts sellers. So, for example, Sellers Advantage, they're a huge company doing about $40 million a year. They don't cold call at all. GG Homes, if you see what they're doing, their main channels is something different than cold calling. If you only chase sellers, you're in a hamster wheel that never stops. Here's what smart investors do instead. They pay Google to have keywords target people that are doing some sort of search. So if someone is searching, I need to sell my house in a specific area, you will pay Google for that specific search term so that we can capture people that have the intent of coming to you. YouTube and Facebook content and paid advertising. As you know, YouTube is owned by Google. So Google has the data that YouTube needs in order to target people based on their algorithm and show people ads and video disruptive ads so that we get them at the right time when they've done a Google search, or they're actually thinking about selling their house, they need to sell their house, they're actually searching online, or they have talked to someone and their phone actually is listening. And the same thing happens with Facebook. The key here though is have the best type of creatives that get their attention, ultimately fulfill their needs and desires, and have a call to action at the end so that people can go through a specific marketing and sales funnel. And having retargeting ads. So if people are on the fence from clicking and ultimately filling out a form in Google or in Facebook or in YouTube, there's retargeting ads that ultimately nurture these people and make them take action when they actually have built some sort of trust. Or maybe you have a better offer in front of them that takes them at the bottom of the funnel and generates the leads, generates the interest so that we can get someone on the pipeline. And this is also something you can do with email marketing as a retargeting technique, because even if right now they don't make the decision of selling the house with you because of whatever reason, you can do retargeting advertising or email marketing to ultimately convert them later on. Once you have sellers coming to you, you stop relying on brute force marketing. But even if you fix your lead generation, you're still throwing about 90 to 95% of your leads if you don't fix this mistake. Most wholesalers only offer cash deals. But did you know that 95% of sellers will never actually accept your cash offer, that means that you're throwing away more than 90 to 95% of deals that could have made you money. And the best investors, they don't throw leads away. They monetize all of them. If you only make cash offers, you'll always be stuck competing with other wholesalers. Here's what you need to do instead to have a slight edge and an advantage over your competition. So you can actually create a unique mechanism that separates you from everyone else that is actually doing the same thing. We buy houses, sell your house fast, cash for homes, whatever. Make sure that you nail down good offers for a specific different avatars of sellers. So for example, Pace Morby uses sub-to, who actually is a way to acquire deals sub to the mortgage, where people are actually owing a lot of their mortgage, and you can even wholesale this type of leads to people that are willing to buy sub-to leads or sub-to deals. Or seller financing. So instead of trying to negotiate on price with sellers that don't make sense on having a cash offer done, do the negotiation based on payments. This will allow you to turn the seller into a bank and then ultimately acquire this lead into a deal using seller financing strategies. And this is something that a lot of people are doing too. I've personally bought different seller financing deals, and I own properties that are seller financed. And the last one is novations, where you can actually sell the property without closing it first. You can make over $40,000 per deal by actually doing this strategy that people like Rich Wonders, Eric Brewer, or other people out there are actually teaching it. And actually Pace Morby built a $100 million real estate portfolio using the deals that most wholesalers ignore. And I did a video about this right in here that will be so huge for you to follow, because that's how he actually monetizes his deals and makes more money with a higher conversion, higher closing ratio than any other wholesaler does. If you don't add creative financing or even just creative ways to monetize your leads, you're leaving multiple six figures or even seven figures on the table every year. The craziest thing is you can monetize these leads right now because you have probably a lot of them right now in your pipeline and you didn't know that you could make money out of them. So just do a reactivation campaign and try to lock them up on a deal like a creative deal. A lot of wholesalers think that they need to build a huge buyers list. And this is wrong. A lot of wholesalers think that they need a huge buyers list before they get started. And this is wrong, because the truth is that you don't need a list of 1,000 buyers to get started. You just need about 5 to 10 highly qualified buyers and investors that will buy from you every single time in your market. Here's what actually works. Get a smoking hot deal under contract first, then post it in Facebook investor groups. Then you can use Investor Base or Investor Lift, which are tools that help you find buyers right now, skip trace them, and then ultimately call them or text message them, because they have the fresh data of people that have actually bought a property recently with cash. I left a link below if you want to try them out. Then you want to call all these local flippers, investors, and landlords to see if they want a deal, because now you have the deal, the juicy deal in front of them, and you build an actual relationship with them. Make sure that when you call them, you use a personalized touch. You get on the phone with them and actually build a real relationship. And the last thing is that you can connect with investor-friendly realtors, and they will also have other investors because they've been in the game for some time, or they just have this interaction and traffic of people that want to buy deals. The most important thing is that you gotta know where the buyers are at. And this is the simplest way to actually do wholesaling. Listen, if the deal is good, buyers will find you. Most wholesalers lose half of their deals simply because leads fall through the crack and you forget about them. And the top 1% of wholesalers, they can turn a no into a yes over time. Most sellers don't say yes on the first call, but if you don't follow up, they will sell to someone else. Here's how you can actually fix this. Have a beast lead management system that has automation and AI that can actually help you. Now, using your CRM, you can put buckets of hot, warm, cold, and follow-up, so you can actually know that you need to follow up with someone. And this will allow you to follow up automatically using AI because it's going to help you with automation remember to text them or email them. So just imagine having a AI chatbot doing the follow-up for you because I know you're busy. So a CRM like Go High Level CRM will allow you to create a workflow that works over time immediately in the first week. So a CRM like Go High Level will allow you to create workflows, triggers, automations that will work for you. So let's say you set it up for the first week to become the first week of hell follow-up, which means that you're following up with them automatically through text messages and emails, apart from doing a follow-up with a phone call. Don't forget the phone calls are the most effective ones, and the second effective one is going to be an SMS. We get about 65 to 70% replies from our SMS and email marketing campaigns combined because we follow up with them in an automated manner in the first week, which is the most important week ever. Now listen, the key is that you follow up with them within 2 minutes, maximum 5 minutes. There's statistics that show that if you don't get a hold of a seller lead in the first 5 minutes, your conversion ratio will go down dramatically, exponentially. But if you get a hold of them and follow up with them within 5 minutes, you would get a conversion ratio that is higher than your normal one. So it will increase your chances to close the deal 60 to 300% more. And this is not theory. It is actually proven by the biggest CRMs and data providers that if you follow up fast with people, you will actually win the deal over your competition. But you will also get a hold of the seller, which means that you can actually start having a quality conversation. Imagine if you never got a hold of the seller, then you would never know if it is a bad lead, a bad deal. You would never know if it is a good deal. You would never know anything. So your responsibility is to use automation to get the sellers on the phone. The other thing is long-term nurturing. A lot of people forget about this part, but I've actually had situations where after 17 touches, you get the seller to respond. We had one time a seller that told us that they were going through a very rough situation with their marriage where they had to divorce and then take their kids, 4 kids, somewhere else because the husband was going crazy. So this seller ended up actually texting back, and this was an example of a deal that was made because we have automation working for us. Again, this was the 17th touch. How crazy is that? Here's a screenshot of the proof that this conversation actually happened. And as you can see, the seller actually apologized for not responding in such a long time. The truth is that sellers need about 4 to 11 touches so you can actually get a hold of them. But you need to be more aggressive the first week. Otherwise, you're not gonna get a hold of them. And building a long-term nurturing campaign that lasts 6 to 12 months or even more will allow you to do this. Again, CRMs can build this with workflows. Just put together in ChatGPT, tell ChatGPT to create a very high open rate, high engagement, high click-through rate messages of SMS and emails that last about 12 months, separated by days that make sense to not super bother that seller, actually do it in a very professional manner, but also sound human. So if you create this long-term nurture campaign, will actually pay off and will get you sellers that are dormant to respond. The last thing you gotta do is daily pipeline reviews. So every single morning, either at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. before your first meeting with your sales team, you will gonna review every single lead that came in, and you're going to hold people accountable whether they have followed up with them. But it's very important that you go over every single lead that comes in during that meeting, and even before, maybe have your executive assistant or some sort of sales coordinator help you to make sure that your lead managers or your closers are actually following up with this lead as soon as possible, giving you comments about that, writing down notes, having high quality conversations, and you can review this lead follow-up every single day. Listen, the money's in the follow-up. If you forget about following up, you're actually handing money to your competition. If you've spoken with that seller and you don't follow up with that seller, literally this is on you. Or if your closer is not following up with that seller, you should hold this closer accountable. And if it's not meeting the expectations, let that closer go, because this closer will cost you more money than actually making you deals. Make sure that you also have personalization when you follow up. You can follow up with iMessage, with FaceTime videos. You can follow up with videos right there, send it to them, WhatsApp messages, many ways that you can actually follow up with. A lot of clients come with the most creative ways to actually follow up with them, such as sending them a pizza. And I actually covered this in one of the videos on the different ways that you can actually make more money with your same sales process. You can actually check it out. But even if you create a follow-up system or you start closing some deals here and there, you'll still get stuck if you don't fix this next problem. These are the scaling mistakes that keep most wholesalers stuck at $10,000 a month. Most wholesalers think that they need to scale ASAP. But here's the truth, scaling the wrong way will destroy your business faster than anything else. Here's how to scale the right way. Step 1 is stabilize. You gotta get consistent deal flow from 1 or 2 channels. Like I told you before, choose one lead generation method and go all in until you're actually making $50,000 a month with this. This is probably 2 to 5 deals a month, and this is what's going to make you now master one thing. And if you add another one, just make sure you add it once you have stabilized this one marketing channel. And try to do a combination of inbound or outbound. And if you have the money, do 2 inbound marketing channels until you have stabilized all of this, which means that you know you're closing deals. You know how to generate these leads. You know how to turn them into appointments. You know how to turn them into contracts. Step 2, optimize. So dial in your KPIs. Make sure that you know your KPIs to a T. Every single cost, like I talked to you about. Make sure to increase your ROI, your deal size, and ultimately lower your cost per acquisition. And fine-tune every single processes that you have while you're actually creating systems that are repeatable. Create SOPs for everything that you have. In the marketing and sales department, know how everything works and create a standard operating procedures for everything that you're doing, and make sure that you're tracking everything very, very well. Step 3 is where you expand. Once step 1 and 2 are locked in, start adding new strategies, new markets, new team members, because you'll know that this is a repeatable process and you can actually expand your ad spend, reinvest back into that same marketing channel so that you can actually acquire more leads, more deals, because now you know that this is a manufacturing plant that continuously gets leads, appointments, offers, and deals. And this can happen in just 6 or even 12 months. And sometimes people take 24 months, and that's completely okay. But if you really want to have a balance of scaling fast and doing it effectively, just make sure that you follow all these processes. I highly suggest that you actually get a blueprint from a coach, a mentor that has actually done the thing that you're currently trying to do. I recommend people like results-driven Tiffany High or RJ Bates from The Vault. Even Chandler Saint, who has a very systematic way to scale their wholesaling business. And if you want to do nationwide campaigns and leverage Google PPC, I recommend Nick Perry because he's built a $5 to $6 million a year wholesaling business. So scaling too fast is even more dangerous than not scaling at all. Most wholesalers keep running the same playbook no matter the market conditions. But the market changes a lot. Last year was different than the year before, and 5 years ago was very different as well. So if wholesalers keep playing the same game, then the economy tightens, then that's where everyone gets wiped out. So a few years ago, hedge funds were buying a lot of deals, but they stopped doing that. So everyone that was selling to hedge funds got wiped out. So you gotta find new buyers. So for example, small landlords, 401k investors, doctors, or high net worth investors were actually buying still. So you can consider them as your next target. Also educate your sellers. A lot of sellers don't get educated on the market at all, and most of them don't. So they keep thinking that the prices are 2021 prices. So you have to show them data and ultimately make them understand that whatever it is that they're asking is not really making sense. You gotta create urgency with sellers too, because every day that they wait, their house will be worth less because they're in poor conditions, and also they have a high motivation that is going to make this even worse. Most wholesalers get crushed in a downturn. The smart ones pivot and thrive. Most wholesalers only focus on acquisition, but in a down market, this position is as important or even more. Find new type of buyers. So instead of just flippers, work with buy and hold investors as well. Use creative financing, seller finance, sub-to, and innovations, so your buyer is actually a retail buyer and you have another way to monetize the deal. And this makes deals easier to sell. In a buyer's market, deals don't sell themselves, so you have to be creative. And you think that you have a lead problem? You don't. You actually have a lead management problem. When scaling, hire a lead manager ASAP. A $6 an hour lead manager can turn your dead leads into actual deals. Not to mention that they can also focus on following up with the leads that you haven't been able to get a hold of, or the leads that are in your pipeline, or making it so easy for you to get a hold of these leads, because as soon as the lead comes in, they're following up, they're on the ball. And you can actually take this from an inside sales management company. And we even do this inside of our company, where we have inside sales agents that are following up right away within 2 to 5 minutes to get them on the phone and then book an appointment with our closers or do a live transfer right away. Set clear KPIs. Appointments set per week and a projection on how many appointments these people are going to do should be one of the metrics that you actually follow and track every single day. And use automation. Let ChatGPT and AI with SMS and email be the first touch point so you can actually get a hold of someone. And most wholesalers think that they need more leads. And when scaling, most wholesalers think that they need more leads, but in reality is that they need a lead manager that can actually help them maximize the leads that they're currently having, because you're not getting a hold of all of them. And now this lead manager will work alongside with the AI and chatbot that is allowing you to get a hold of leads fast. Most wholesalers never break the $10,000 a month mark because they're doing everything themselves. They are the CEO, the acquisition rep, the dispo manager, and the marketing guy all at the same time. They think, I'll scale when I make more money. But the truth is that you'll never make more money if you don't start making people more money, which means that now other people need to get the fruits of your labor because you have built something that other people need to fit inside. And this is delegation. This is taking your time back again and using other people's time. Here's the sequence that you can use to scale the right way. Step number 1, hire a lead manager that is $6 an hour to handle all your follow-ups and just getting people on the phone again. Step number 2, bring an acquisition rep so they can help you close more deals. Hire someone when you're about 80% capacity of the deals that you can do by yourself and you have a lot of lead flow. Step number 3, hire a dispo rep to sell your contracts. Once you start building a lean team, you stop being the bottleneck, which means that your revenue will skyrocket. Even if you generate leads and start scaling the right way, if you can't close at a high closing ratio, you're still gonna have issues and you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Here's what separates the top closers with amateurs. They know that this is a marketing and sales game. So they ask the seller what's more important, the price or the conveniency and speed to solve a problem that they have in order to find motivation. They focus on the pain point, not on the price and on the offer. They master handling objections because most sellers say no before they say a yes. Wholesaling is not the real business, it's a sales business. This is an acquisitions game. Another thing is that if you don't understand wholesaling or novations contracts, you're actually playing with fire. You might lose the assignment fee, you might use the wrong contract and kill the deal. And you might open yourself up to a legal trouble. And this mistake has bankrupted wholesalers before. Here are the 3 contracts you need to master. Purchase and sales agreement to lock up the deals. Assignment of contract so you can actually wholesale it to another buyer. An option agreement that controls deals without the risk. If you don't understand these contracts, you don't understand the business. Now let's talk about how you're gonna fix all of this. You're gonna go and take this video and transcribe it using a transcriber tool from YouTube, and you're gonna run it by ChatGPT. And in ChatGPT, you're gonna expand it so it tells you exactly what you need to do. Now, you have to go to different people that are experts on the following matter. So if you need to solve your constraint on sales, go to someone that is an expert like Eric Klein or RJ Bates or even NEPQ for real estate that tells you exactly how to close more deals. Or if you're actually going to get lead generation, Or if you need high quality leads from inbound marketing, you can actually click the description below, because our team will help you actually generate motivated sellers from inbound marketing, paid ads, Google and Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, so that you can actually get more leads, more appointments, more deals. We've helped over 500 people already in the last few years, and I believe we can actually help you. There's also other videos that you can actually see in this YouTube channel that can help you understand all of this. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like this video, hit the thumbs up, give me a comment of what you really want to know next, and don't forget to share this with someone that needs this as well. See you in the next video, and hope you crush it.